What's up, everybody? Ethien from Alliance KOTOR here today. I'm gonna do some preparation for 3v3 Grand Arena. I have a lot of nerves. I'm nervous about this situation and walking into what we're about to face. I want to win because I'm competitive, and so I'm trying to do all the proper planning, but I also want to think about what I'm preparing for. I want to plan it out properly, kind of thing. I did have a couple of requests from one of my arena chats because we are dealing with a CLS team that's pretty impressive, and so I want to see if I can come up with a hodgepodge counter for it, using some powerful characters that we've all pretty much developed, especially at this power level. So the team that he's running runs with the Chewie, Han, and then C-3PO, and I think the key to beating that would be Rex, and Wampa just wrecks, not Rex, but destroys this team. And I think C-3PO is a priority target, but I still think that Chewbacca is the need to die target. I put Scion on the team for buff removal in case they do start getting a buff train rolling, although my speed is a little bit too fast to counter that. But so every time they're doing these counterattacks and crits, I'm generating a boatload of turn meter. Now every time they're attacking, obviously they're generating heals, so I'm trying to see if it actually kind of balances out. The tenacity up helps control, the burns and that kind of stuff, so we'll see what happens. This is, like I said, a test, so I haven't come up with the perfect thing, but once you get a Wampa going, he's kind of hard to kill. So, and all those little counterattack crits from like R2D2 doing that kind of stuff, all that's generating turn meter for my team, which is feeding Wampa. So it's kind of why I think it'll work. That's not going to reduce turn meter. I don't know why I attacked him. But here we go. We get to remove all these buffs. I think I did land a daze on Chewie, so that helps. Let's see. No. Oh, never mind. Doesn't matter. Scion can die. He's already got resurrect. Forgot about that. Oh, that was not good. See, there's all that bonus health they're getting. I'm wondering how to. It's bonus health from C-3PO. Bonus turn meter. I think this is gonna. Let's finish off R2. Oh. Not good. Yeah. It's a freaking tough team to beat. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's just a very well synergized team, so I'm still thinking of things to try and beat it. I'm gonna burn 50 crystal, switch to Revan, so I don't fall in arena. Where is my? I don't even think I have Revan saved. That's okay. He's kind of top of the list, so don't skip Yoda. I don't know. I think there's a couple different teams. The key to that team is killing Chewie quick, removing the ability to stealth. Dazing Chewie would be great. There's a couple other things that we got to look into. I mean, Revan's trick to beating the team is whoever you kill, you don't actually kill. That just happened to Revan, and then because of that, you just kind of work around the team. I mean, Revan has a lot of other tricks. Speed being huge. We're going to talk about that in a second. So, okay. So the first thing I did is I went into the squad builder, which is the thing I recommend for any new content that ever comes out, is to go into the squad builder and flesh out what you're thinking. As long as I get Jolie another turn, I won't lose. But if I don't get Jolie another turn, that could be a problem. No, Jolie should be fine. No Chewbacca equals no death. And then everybody's back in the fight. And that's why Jolie is bullshit. Plus he's like one of the tankiest tanks that never taunted ever. Alright, so I actually fleshed out the squad builder on this account, which is my alt account. And the reason I did that is because it's probably more along the lines of what most people are working with. It's a 2.5 million GP. Granted, it's got Revan, so I'm not trying to say everybody should have Revan, but it's definitely got some obvious holes in its roster. So this translation all the way stacked up is absolutely crazy. Okay, I beat the team with Revan. I'm confident I can do that. I do need to figure out a different counter. Oh, and C-3PO escapes, but I like that Hermit Yoda, when he escapes, just kind of fades off, where C-3PO still dies. Okay, so, oh yeah, Hermit and Wampa bundles came in. The first thing I did was go into the squad builder. There's the Wampa bundle. Give us your money, is what they said. Oh man, I can't look at the squad builder. Yes I can. Where do we go? Light side. No, that's going to restrict it. Cantina. Alright. This is going to add an ally, but it's more about the conversation inside the squad builder. So right now, essentially because I chose CLS, I won't see him on my roster. So the first thing I did was I just started listing out all the different leaders. There's obviously some gaps in this, and we'll explain why. But for example, you don't want every leader in the game. And some of the leaders are going to lend themselves to not being very advantageous in 3v3 combat. But some leaders, like Rolo, might actually work out, but on an offensive situation, because they're such a specific leadership ability. What we do know about 3v3 is that players that are 4 million galactic power are going to need 11 defensive teams, and then they'll need to beat 11 objectives, and it's all ground. It's no fleet. The next tier down is 2,750,000 to 3,999,999. Needs 10 teams, 10 and 10. The next tier down, which is my alts tier, is going to need 8 and 8. The next, and that's 1,750,000 up to 2,749,000. And then the next tier down is 6 and 6 and 4 and 4. So there is some escalation there, but you know, the tactic that I foresee, like if I saw Revan, Yoda, and General Kenobi, or Revan, Yoda, and Jolie, the choices that you make in building a counter is going to be surrounded around the idea of, like, how do I defeat that team using 3 units quickly, because you know that the team can steamroll out of control. And so a lot of teams that we build 5v5 are built for balance, or they're built for manipulation or control. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, was a lot of the teams that we traditionally built are really focused around balance, not damage. And so some units like Embo, which I have not farmed up, harkens himself straight to damage. What was I looking for? There's a leader ability I was looking for. Oh, the Jawas and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, so specifically on Revan, because it's going to be front of mind on everybody, Revan's extremely complex leadership ability speaks in kind of 3 parts. Part 1 is he buffs his team for Jedi and Old Republic per character that is Jedi or Old Republic. So if you want the fastest, strongest 3v3 Revan, you want Revan, Bastila, Jolie, because they're Jedi Old Republic. So they'll each lend the team 10 speed, 10 crit, 10 offense. So they'll get a total of 30 out of it. Might not be the best use of those 3 characters. And then Tenacity up, which counters certain things at the beginning of the battle. They're immune to bonus turn lead. You counter bonus turn leader effects from players like Z-Maul and Z-Bastila leads. So that's kind of part 1. Part 2 is the protection recovery on called assists. And then kind of part 3 is the dispel / called assist generator in his leadership ability. Then Revan's unique lends to the fact that he loves healing or giving that auto heal. Now, he does not do that to himself if he's not the leader. But the way his leadership ability is kind of structured doesn't say, I speed my team up, it doesn't matter who's in it. Whereas somebody like a Kylo Ren lead, he's going to give all the first order 30 speed. And so one of the things we were thinking about very early on with the building of the teams was there's specific leaders that give bonus speed to the whole team, and it doesn't matter how many are in it. So Kylo, Bosk when the bounty goes off, Rex in reverse, let's see who else. Bonus speed comes from Veers' lead, bonus speed comes from Lando's lead, Akbar's lead, I did put a bunch of them together, cool. Jango's lead, bonus speed comes from Asajj's lead, bonus speed comes from Qui-Gon Jinn's lead. So no matter what your mods are, in situations like that, if they got a 3-player counter, there's less of a chance to get the ball rolling and to create a counter. And so I think that those teams are going to already kind of lend themselves to good teams for 3v3. It doesn't mean they're defense or offensive team, just good teams. I just realized I didn't have the Twitch comment stream on, so hold on 1 second so that I know if anybody's talking back and asking questions. There we go. Now I can see if you're typing. Sorry. And if you typed anything, it was completely missed because I just realized that I was just going off on a tangent. So yeah. Lost where I was. So then things like Rey's lead, which has very specific like occurrences, are going to be less likely because there's less people on the team, but also on the flip side, more likely because the way the turns go will occur much faster. So, you know, normally it's like if you're running a CLS team, CLS's specific his turn will not occur, you know, until maybe 10 people go, depending on speed of the turns, right? And then turn meter manipulation. But you'll see 9 turns before CLS goes again if it's a fast team. But then with 3v3, you'll see a lot more rotation, so the same character will get a turn more often, and therefore their abilities might come up more often. So turn meter generation is really big. So I think what I wanted to do was just give my top 8 defensive leads that I've thought of, and then try and build squads around them. So in lieu of a Bosk lead, which I do recommend, but I actually would prefer for a defensive squad an Aurra Sing lead. I don't know if I put her on here. I did not. So what this allows, and if you don't have Aurra Sing like I do, I completely understand, and therefore you would go with Boss. But what an Aurra Sing lead allows is you start the turn with stealth, and they have additional offense, and it stacks. So let me pull up the full blurb of it. On a defensive team, you're going to have 30% offense while stealth, and attackers start with stealth. And when they attack while buffed, which they're going to have while stealth, then they start getting counter chance and protection recovery and gain turn meter whenever an enemy is defeated. I think that turn meter and protection recovery is actually pretty big, because on a 3v3 fight, if they're killing off anybody, they're making it that much harder to kill them, which then starts the whole preloaded turn meter and that kind of thing. Notice it says attackers start with stealth, so that means if you throw her and Bosk and Greedo together, or her and Bosk and Boba Fett or IG-88, pretty much anybody but Cad Bane. I'm pretty sure Dengar is a tank. Yeah, attacker, perfect. So they all going to start with stealth anyways, and Dengar might be a good option because when he's stealth, he makes it so nobody else can stealth. So Bosk will be the only exposed target at the very beginning of that fight, and when the enemy only has 3 people, you're able to control that fight, which is the same thing we do with like a Zeta Maul lead. Traditionally, is like control the fight through the leadership. So I think Aurra Sing on a 3v3 is actually an extremely interesting one, and I do recommend her. I recommend, again, all the speed-based ones as a lead. But yeah, I'm going to start fleshing out some teams. I think that the best use of an Akbar team is to actually go... Sorry. The best use of an Akbar team is to actually go the traditional Hoda route, because every turn you get is going to be shooting with just Akbar or just the other person. And then what you do is you choose a very powerful rebel. Now, I don't want to pull CLS yet, So I'm going to choose another really hard-hitting rebel. Sabine is a really hard-hitting rebel, and we're not getting the same Phoenix synergy that we might traditionally get. Ezra I kind of save. There's a couple others, but I think for this one, this is the squad I want to roll with them. And I'm going to kind of go through. But the goal is to be able to build out all of your teams to the point where you can run with all of your characters, because you need to build 16 teams. So continuing through that, kind of that measure is what I'm going to do. So I think what I want to do is save Bastila, and I think what I want to do is run with Jolie. But I think I want them on a different team. So actually with Revan, I don't think I'm going to run with Jedi. And I know I was saying like that's how his leadership works, but I think that the easier way to run your teams is to spread out your units a little bit. So for First Order, the basic attacks would go with Phasma, and it doesn't have to be First Order with Phasma, it just kind of works out better. The Kylos kind of just work out well. You have a tank, a healer, I mean not a healer, they don't die very easy, and then through anybody who hits Kylo Ren heals, but then you do need some damage. Kylo's going to naturally AoE everybody, and that was one of the other big learnings, that we need kind of one AoE on any team to ensure that if they're attacking us, we are generating defensive banners through that. As Laresh says, Ezra's assist called under Akbar also triggers. Yes, I think Ezra I want to run on a Jedi team, and I want to run him with Bastila and Kanan, or Old Ben. The reason is you're going to get a pre-taunt from Kanan, and so the team will be able to work better. Again, none of this is like, do this. I can't really like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a 3v3. We've never done 3v3. I'm just kind of like, I was trying to break down my roster, and I wrote a bunch of notes and built the teams out. So I'm trying to like show you how I fleshed it out. How I fleshed it out, yeah. This was the, oh no, I did not want to run Yoda on a leadership position. I thought about it, and this was the one where I was like, you know what? I think what I actually want to do is I want to run Kenobi lead, and I want to do the you needed like an AoE healer, so like a Zeta Bastila and then a Grandmaster Yoda, but that doesn't use Jolie, and so I'm really like, with the Jedi specifically, I was torn. And I think what I wanted to do was, if you have a Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, I think that level of control and the speed boost that you're getting, it's just not something people are going to be ready for. Again, everybody kind of can deal with the Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn. It's this kind of deep spread of your roster that I was trying to see if it could kind of work out. So that is what I wanted to run. And then instead of this, I was going to run a really, 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 really hard to kill team, which is, sorry, this and Barriss, and a Zeta Barriss preferred. Granted, everybody's roster is going to be different. I mean, I think one of the key thoughts behind this was like, if I have, so I have Zaris on my main, and I have Jolie, and I have Kenobi, is like, what kind of counter can run against that? There's not going to be any level of debuffs that are going to stick on it hard. They have to kill Jolie first. They have to do it without crits. They have to, like, it's, I don't even need damage. So this kind of defensive team will just be a wall. And so I was thinking about like, both what would I use this team to beat, and then also the flip side, like what could beat this. So I think the only thing that could beat this team that I'm showing right here is a really, really strong control team like Rey and BB-8, and a very specific like structure of control, or even like a Zeta Finn might be able to kind of go through this. Well, thanks for the baby monitor. I'll have a good shower. So then,
video?
I'm live.
On video or just voice?
Yeah, they saw you walk in and everything. So yeah, just kind of fleshing out my teams. How low of a Barris would I be willing to run with that setup? I mean, that's the thing. How many gear 12s do players have? Like, no matter what, they're going to have the same number of gear 12s. So the more you spread out your gear 12s, the more vulnerable you are to somebody just smashing you. But then they have to do it with an equally like low balanced team, because otherwise they're burning through their roster too quick. Like, that was my big personal learning from the last Grand Arena, is like, you, especially at the lower mid-level Galactic Power, you cannot just overshoot. If you're overshooting on defense, you're undershooting on offense. If you're undershooting on defense, you have to perfect clear everything, and you have to ensure that not only do you perfect clear everything, you're not taking AoE damage, because that AoE damage is -5 banners. If you don't have any form of protection recovery, like, you need that protection recovery if you don't have any form of healing. So I think the other key thing to these was like and the key learning from that was like, if you needed banners back to get over the hump and beat the other team, it was about going in under, like going with 4 instead of 5. You would earn some banners back. And I think that for this, like, imagine going 2 versus 3. It's just another situation where you're just not feeling good about it. So the Orasing team I threw in, I don't think anybody had, I didn't create it because I don't think anybody has Orasing really built up yet. And if they do, I do recommend Orasing, Bosk, and like Dengar. But I think what I want to run for Bounty Hunters on defense is like a Cad Bane and Dengar. This is more like a control team than anything. But I think that the fear of that team is it's a lot of single target damage, and you need to target the weakest unit. And so that's where, like, I don't really know. I need another AoE. I kind of want to run Boba Fett with Django, because Django needs a lot of debuffs, and so you need, so yeah, Zam Wessel, I think that's how I say her last name, might be another good option. But maybe this is the best choice. It gives a lot of survivability to IG-88. I don't think I want to run Boba Fett as a leader. He just lends from having a big group, and having only 3 like shrinks the group size. But I think as leaders go for the Bounty Hunters, the 4 leaders that I would even consider for any form of Grand Arena or anything are Bosk, Dengar, the 5 leaders: Bosk, Dengar, Boba Fett, Django, and Orasing. Now, Embo has an amazing leadership ability, and it does lead to an offensive ability in Grand Arena or Territorial War. But it's not really designed around smashing through specific teams, so I'm really worried about it. It's more just about, it's kind of a PvE one that works really well in PvP. I don't know. Anyways, his is speed and minus tenacity, and then they can't gain turn meter. And then the contract is damage a debuffed enemy. So you've got to get them debuffed and then damage them. So what did I run? I ran these 3 on the other one. So we'll run, I think Cad Bane will be a better choice than Greedo. Greedo has an AoE. Yeah. And Cad Bane does a double tap. I don't know if that counts. Anyways, I know for sure Boba Fett's doesn't count, but yeah. Okay, so I already fleshed out the Kenobi team. Do I have any Jedi left? I think I did all my Jedi. Like, how do you break your Jedi up? Kenobi lead, Revan lead, Bastila lead. And you could do an Anakin lead. Yeah, I don't know. I think Yoda's good anywhere, and they like naturally made his character good anywhere. But I still think that, like, you want to be able to flesh out, just kind of use him on offense and smash through a team. And that's why I think the Qui-Gon is a better situation, because it's just going to have so much foresight and speed, and it separates him from Revan to, like, give you another team. Traya is obviously like the triumvirate, but I think it is a situation where you might consider splitting them up a little bit. because of Emperor's Lead and how Emperor's Lead works. Luke is obviously like, let's put Luke with Chewie and Han because of the counterattack situation that they face. But there's not a lot of defense in there. And so that's where I was like, what can I do with R2? I'm not using R2 with my Rey like I traditionally do. And then the other situation is I'm really breaking up my my Phoenix a lot because the Phoenix need each other to really synergize. And so I was like, what can I do with Luke to take his counterattacks and really pump it up? And actually, I don't feel like Luke is the best for leadership in this situation because it's a reactive leadership. It says, hit me and I'll smash you back. It's a, you know, he's a really strong character, but I think I want to use Han and Chewie with Scoundrels under Kira. And so I was really kind of just bouncing around. Although these guys might work really well with Lando, he already does enough AoE to deal with that. And this gives the team some survivability because Luke's ability is just really about like turn meter gain, and you know, the defense is appreciative, so no tank needed kind of thing. But I still think that that's how I want to run that team. Rex loves Wampa, and they always need a tank. And they finally have a couple different tanks, and I think that are just non-faction. But I think that like with this situation, I might want to run like with Nest and just really smash through a team. Or I would run with like L3. But I don't know. I'm really struggling with some of this stuff. I think that the turn meter generation, I think that, yeah, there's like a lot of tips and tricks that we're trying to pull out of our you-know-whats to make this kind of work, peel together. So your Empire is getting broken up pretty severely. Tarkin gives defense down whenever they drop below 100% health and a bunch of speed. We're running Vader leads, we can run Thrawn leads, we can run, but it really comes down to like, do I have enough tanks? So I think on the defensive leadership abilities, that's where you use tanks, and on the offensive leadership abilities, that's where you go offense and just kind of all in. If you have Krennic, kind of pair him up with Death Trooper, but for now I don't have Krennic up on this account, so I'm just trying to pick it through. For Ewoks, I think that obviously Ewok Elder and Wicket are the two required under Chirpa. But actually, like, Paplo and Logray with a Zeta Chirpa means that they're going to call each other to assist constantly. So I don't think there's any wrong answer with this kind of synergy. It's just, there's also no right answer, because 3v3. Like, what the heck are we going to do? The reason I like Dengar's leadership ability, and I know I mentioned a little bit earlier, is it's health steal, and it's some other really fun tricks that, like, they don't know what to expect. So they're minus 50% critical damage. Remember Dengar's specific ability that says don't stealth, and then they just need to damage the healthiest enemy 10 times, and then the whole other enemy team loses 20% offense, which is just kind of this, like, you can't crit me, you can't really damage me, we're just going to out-sustain you. Yeah, Tebow lead with Wicked and Ewok Elder could also work, and I think that's kind of the question is, like, how do I split up my Ewoks? I did not show the Tebow lead, but if you notice, you can kind of, there's a nice clean 7 of them, so you can kind of split it up. I think that Logray and Ewok Elder need to be separated because they're the kind of supports, and I think then because of that you put Paplo with Logray, because Ewok Elder could get targeted under any team, but just one tank, I don't know. So maybe you put Paplo with Ewok Elder, but I think that Paplo would go best with Tebow no matter what, because he says if I get stealth, I instead have taunt, and so then Tebow would go with Paplo and Logray, and then those 3 together, and then sorry Scout, you just get left out. That rhymed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the breakdown. Zeta Finn, which is not Zeta on this account. Zeta Finn, I would run with the trio. Notice how I haven't, like, shown C-3PO yet. I also haven't shown R2-D2 yet. I'm kind of not really knowing where I want to put them yet. With Kira, I think that the best opportunity would be if you're using her on offense to run with Han and Chewie. Straight up, these three, have fun. If you're using her on defense, maybe L3 and Nest, because it's not a team that relies on spreading around properly the preparation. L3 needs preparation to heal, but she can generate preparation on her own and that kind of thing, or prepared buff. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up using them on offense as this trio, just because it can smash really, really hard, really fast, crits and offensive gain. Yeah, I left some leadership abilities up there that I was thinking about, but I don't really think that's going to happen. Thrawn is a solid hard counter still to Traya, and even more so now with the 3-on-3 ability. I switched way past Empire. So he uses a Magma Trooper and his leadership ability to kill Scion. The Magma Trooper has 2 abilities, and whenever he suffers a debuff, he generates a boatload of turn meter. And then same thing with Thrawn's lead, he gets more turn meter. Because of that, he shoots Scion, gets pain, generates a bunch of turn meter, shoots Scion, gets pain, generates a bunch of turn meter, shoots Scion, gets pain. So he can chew through Scion, and then as Scion's getting a little bit of turn meter here through the game, naturally giving turn as the turn meter building up, his secondary ability is to throw a grenade, and the grenade reduces turn meter of the enemy team. And so you can control the team to the point where you win because Scion's dead. And then you can switch to Traya and Nihilus. I think the best support partner for them, normally we would run with like a probe droid to blow off one of them, but I think they really need a tank. So I think, especially in the situation that you might not control the intro, you need a pre-taunter if they've got a really fast Traya. So that'll take it out, and then Thrawn can lock down Nihilus, and then you just chew away at Scion. I think that leadership abilities like Stormtrooper Han, which we used on another team but have not been demonstrated as often, might actually find some place in the 3v3 arena. He gives the entire team, he doesn't care who, 30% defense and then 35% offense, and so it's a team that you can kind of mess with, I guess, and put it on defense. Plus he's just kind of a squishy tank, but he generates a bunch of turn meter. I think that fast or turn meter generating Empire would be a way to go. Like Stark is a very fast Imperial. Oh yeah, sorry, please do not read into the levels. I'm just using this account because it's easier to navigate because there's not so many characters, because I have a bunch of level 1s that I just haven't unlocked. But anything fast through all these attacks will reduce turn meter. So I was thinking, okay, who's fast like Stark? But if you put range in there, range and Stark actually still play off each other. Range just says as long as I'm on a team, Imperial troopers have a chance to call each other. So Stark gets called, range gets called, Stark gets called. So they're just kind of fast and play off each other. And it also works with the retaliation. The retaliation will reduce turn meter. Now granted, it doesn't do the stacking. If you have the Zeta, you get stacking dots. It doesn't exactly lend to that, but that's a team that doesn't really need a tank, because it doesn't really matter who they target. The dreaded Phasma lead, I still think I'm going to roll with my First Order. I used Kylo and the First Order Executioner. I think that Phasma is more just a knockdown team. You can run with any one of the 3 DPS and just kind of smash through somebody. Yeah, none of this was like, you have to do it this way. This was all just me kind of goofing around, trying to figure out who I wanted to run who with, that kind of thing. So I've used a lot of my troopers at this point, and so Veers I think is going to go with Snow Trooper, and then Stormtrooper as the tank. So then at this point I'm really low on just Empire in general, but that's okay because then a lot of accounts at this point, if you're running Thrawn as a lead, Vader as a lead, Tarkin as a lead, and Veers as a lead, that's okay because ultimately the Emperor is a better Sith leader than he is an Imperial leader. because he gives the healing. And so you've already used your Triumvirate, you've already used Darth Vader, but then all these guys need somewhere to go. And Maul could still lead Savage if you want to roll that way. And I think the best option for Emperor is Fallen Bastila and then either the Sith Trooper or Dooku, because Dooku heals every time he counterattacks, as long as he's applying debuffs. So this is kind of the one I wanted to roll with, because he applies debuffs, which kind of leads back to the Emperor lead. Notice that team is just not good on this account. So here's the rest of my troopers. So I'm not actually going to run this account this way, and I'm not actually going to run my other account this way. I really have to look at it tomorrow when it opens up and really kind of plot and plan it out. But I wanted to at least have a framework that says, this might be what I do. This is how I've been thinking about it, that kind of thing. Which that team right there that I just put up is an amazing team. It's got a whole bunch of AoE. It's got an amazing taunter if you've got him semi-developed up. It's just a really strong person to use. So, Lando works with Scoundrels or Rebels. And so it's really, what have you not used yet? And I know I've used a lot here, but that's okay. He gives the Scoundrels up a bunch of stats. And so I used Kira, and I used Chewie, and I used Han. So then I was thinking, okay, this actually is a really hard team to kill, even without the Kira lead. They'll get a bunch of extra speed under Lando, giving Nest just that extra top off. And then L3 is a really, really hard to kill tank. And then on defense, Lando will be able to provide a bunch of AoE support. So they're going to obviously have to focus Lando down. But if they focus Lando, they're giving L3 a bunch of turn meter and the ability to get through her stacking tenacity. And then they still have Nest to deal with. So again, I was looking for some of those kind of like AoE trick teams under leaders you wouldn't expect. Somebody wouldn't know what to do with them. Did I build Django's team already? I think I did. Yeah, right there. I think I used Old Ben, which is somebody I love to run with Jin. This is actually not the team I would recommend. If you have Cassian and K2, they just do so many debuffs that they won't really know what to do with the exposed. So you still have Baze and Chirrut, save for another Rebel team should I want to run it. And so kind of looking back to the Rebels, I used Akbar. I doubled down on CLS, but you could run CLS, Baze, and Chirrut, which just gives you a whole bunch of counterattacks and a bunch more survivability, so it might be an option. I could run Leia with them, and you give just a bunch of critical chance, so their counterattacks are going through. You could run Old Ben with them, so that they're having some evasion on top of all their tankiness. This team has an AoE character, has a leadership ability that has some pretty good stats for them, and then the Foresight, you can use it to attack and beat through an Imperial team. I don't know. Again, we're digging pretty deep. I still have R2 and C-3PO to kind of burn through. But I think the goal is, like I said, when I need 16 teams on this account, I don't even have 5 really ones that I'm super confident in. I've just kind of fleshed them out. Maybe those 4 plus that one. I don't know, maybe 6. Yeah. So what is it? Let's see, if I put all this on defense, that's 4. That's another 3, and then Traya on defense, and then I would be left with this to kind of whittle through his offense. So you're gonna have junk on the table. Karth, as we've explained, and as you've seen in some of the videos, is an amazing leader ability. He specifically bonuses Old Republic, and he specifically loves the new characters for Old Republic. Instead of Johanna, you can run T3, and it's interesting. The droids all still live each other, so HK and 2 droids can still have a good time. I didn't mean to click on them. Sorry, squad builder is fun. I don't know. This session was more about thinking. splitting up teams, like splitting up the Night Sisters. We talked about this recently on Dan and Sparrow's podcast. Just trying to figure out where to spread everybody properly. I think that Zombie and Acolyte hang out with Mother Talzin a lot better than with Asajj. Because even if you kill Talzin, if you can't get to the Acolyte, she'll bring Talzin back eventually through her stealth trick. And then Asajj can roll with the Resurrector, and then you would roll with, you don't really need a tank. You could run with Talia, but this is also a team defensively where I could say Nest, because then you're dealing with a really hard to kill team that you would want to kill Daka, but then as you're whittling down Daka, Asajj is being powered up, that kind of thing. The other person on this team that works really well is Spirit. She's really hard to kill, stacking Foresight, much like Rey. If you leave her alone, she's doing pure damage right behind your protection walls and stuff like that. So I would recommend that. I don't know. I think that's it. I mean, just kind of digging through a roster and spreading things out. There's obviously other ways to mix and match this. And I will probably be doing a stream on Saturday or Monday. If not Saturday, then Monday. I'll do the following stream to show my offense. But yeah, I think the hard part is figuring out where everybody goes. I really think that Luke probably shouldn't be here. Luke should probably be leading R2 and C-3PO. What other rebels do I have? I still have Baze and Chirrut. You can just do Baze. I have a Kanan still. No, I use Kanan with Bastila. I do Chopper. There you go. Chopper. Just, he'll be great. And then this can be the CLS team with either Baze or Chirrut for defense. Where am I going? CLS, and then Baze or Chirrut, or maybe R2 C3PO. I don't know. C3PO kind of just works everywhere, but I still feel like him with Rebels is the way to go because those exposes. It's just a bunch of damage. People aren't really expecting. He's stacking health. Who else did I not use yet? This account is 2.5 million galactic power. Thank you for asking. Is there anybody I didn't use? I didn't build that other Ewok team. I guess I can show that. And then I can screenshot all this, send it. Doot, doot. Super duper. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Not just questions, but like anybody else on my roster that I haven't used. All done. I don't think I built a Phoenix team-ish. I don't think they're gonna do very well. So maybe like Zeb, Sabine, what is that? Projection, recovery, offense, stacking, Hera. It's like the B team for Phoenix, but then I spread them all out. And my Sabine has a Zeta, so it'll be fun to curveball somebody with that. I haven't used a Sith Trooper. I don't have it built up on this account, but yeah, there's a couple Sith teams I didn't build out. So what did I used the Triumvirate, I used the Emperor, Bastila, and Dooku. Yeah, I don't like Sith Trooper with Zeta Maul. Although he does gain taunt when you hurt somebody enough, so there is that. You actually want, I think, the Marauder for the stacking buffs. Yeah, I guess, or the Sith Assassin, because she's fast, and this team already has a bunch of preloaded turn meter. So it's one of those teams that no matter how fast of a team you built, it's not fast enough kind of thing. Let's see, I built a couple Bounty Hunters teams. I didn't build a Clone Trooper team. Let's see, I would roll Cody Echo 5s, probably. Echo assists whenever they attack. 5s is kind of tanky and counterattacks a lot. Cody calls assists. It's not really damaging. I don't know. Like, the troopers are very out of flavor. But if the leaks are true, then they need to stop leaking because leaks are bad and they're making CG pull their hair out and hate the game. So droids, we didn't do these guys. T3 is amazing with droids. Did I use IG-88 somewhere? I think I did. I used all the droids. That's such a weird team. You want one with AoE. You want IG-88. Let's go pull him from my whatever team I put him on. And then I put Cad Bane with the other one, so there's Greedo. It's not AoE. It's not ideal. I don't know. I don't feel good about that. Thengar has AoE, but if you get stuck behind it, or if they throw in one strong tank, you'll never be able to... Well, eventually the tank will get whittled down to the point where boss leadership will go off, so... Yeah, HK has an AoE. I meant like T3 is there to improve the team. He's not. He's a support. So you want the team to then utilize that improvement on multiple targets, not just a single target. I built out Jingo's team, right? Yes. I think that's the second time I said that. I'm just utilizing the space now. What else? What else? What else? We did the first order. Geos. The Poggle the Lesser lead. I'm just kidding. There's a couple teams where, you know, they don't have a leadership, but they synergize well. I was talking about a Zalbar L3 Vandor Chewie team. Vandor Chewie will res Zalbar in L3, and it's a wall. No leadership. I mean, obviously there is like counters to it, but speaking of which, I did not use Vandor Chewie yet, so let's go into there. It's not scoundrels that I want to use. It's smugglers? No, scoundrels. Yes. Let us see. Who's down here with a leadership ability I have not used? I could run him with the cheese team. Good old Chewie. Could run the vets together too. They run off synergy. I've used all my leads. I don't know. Like at that point I'll be digging deep, but he doesn't have a leadership ability. Bounty hunter specific. I don't know. Vandor needs to get prepared by having a buff, I think. Like you need a buffer. Somebody to give him a buff so that he can get prepared. Yeah, that's how he gets prepared. Has a buff, somebody else gets hurt, he gets prepared, and then once he's prepared, it's an unending cycle of resurrections as long as he retains a buff. Because if you single target shoot the tank and he's buffed, he gets prepared. If you kill the tank, he loses prepared, but then gains it back because he, etc. So yeah, that's one of those situations where you're like, I don't know. I mean, I would use him. I haven't really found a place for him in a 3v3 team. And if I did, it would be like to break up another one of these teams, but I don't know if I really want to. Like, I think one of the things that by doing 3v3 we've learned is like we don't have enough leaders. Like we have plenty of leaders if it's territory war, but as you can see, a lot of my leaders are like level 1, not the best leader situation. But they lend their leadership ability, so then there is that. What was the other? I think there was one more. Oh, it was Jedi Knight Anakin. That's who I wanted to put it under. Offense. Crit damage. Everybody loves those things. Then I need a buffer. A buffer. Vandor Chewie. And then somebody who's fast who gives buffs. Who's tanky. Don't really have a lot. I don't know. Bottom of the barrel at this point. Okay. So yeah. I have no idea how this is going to go. I don't think anybody has any idea how this is going to go. And we're stretching our rosters pretty thin. Especially the higher up in Galactic Power you go, it ramps pretty quickly. I think the goal is to like I guess down and dirty strategies that we've been talking. If you put defensive teams and every one of them has an AoEer and the rest of the team is pretty junky, Laresh, you and I are going to have to put 10 teams per, or not per zone, but 10 teams on defense and then defeat 10 teams on offense. The next one down is like 2.75 million, and 2.750 million is going to have to put 8. So 8 and 8. And as you can see on this account, I don't have 8 teams to place on defense. So a tricky strategy. Run a junk defense with enough to keep the AoEer alive, or enough AoEers on the team to damage their protection. That's all you want to do. Make them so they can't end at 60 banners. And then they get 55 across the board. 55 maximum. They could clear everything, but it's all 55 to 55, 55. Well, it's not going to be 55 because the math is different for these, but you get what I'm saying. They end perfect except for protection. They don't lose a single unit. They always end full health, but they don't get the protection banners. And then if you're able to perfect clear more teams than them with your strong offense that you've saved in reserve, you're going to win. Granted, it's a freaking gamble, and I don't know if I want to do that because I'm used to traditional counters. You know, this team beats this team. That's rock, paper, scissors. But this is going to be a slugfest with our rosters. It's not going to be fun at all. So I think I am done. It's been 50 minutes, and I'm getting tired. And so I will stream again tomorrow. And the tomorrow stream is about something else that I don't remember. I'm trying to remember right now. I'm going to stream at 5:30 my time, 8:30 Eastern. Oh, no, that's my normal Friday stream. That's becoming a normal thing, so yeah. Borex, I think that speed is... So the question is, do I feel like speed is more important than in a 5-man? I was trying to do the, like I was explaining earlier in the stream, like in a 5-man fight, speed says I get to go more often, obviously. But it actually means that I get to go more often than whatever you're using to like disrupt the 5v5 synergy that you've built on your defense. So I'm trying to disrupt that to overcome. On a 3v3 situation, it's the same, but no matter what, it doesn't matter how fast they are. The way the speed meters work is that if you have a 300 speed character and a 150 speed character, without any turn meter manipulation, the 300 speed character will go first time around first, and then the second time around they will tie. And so on a 3v3, you know, even if it like sorts itself out to like this is the order that they will go, and then they go in that order, and then speed starts messing with that order, I think the fights are going to be faster because of the 3v3 mechanic. So, yeah. So I think that like, yes, speed is always important. But in this case, like you're saying, you just said in chat, like to finish my thought is, if you can kill something quick, that's disruption more than anything. And in this case, 3v3, we're talking about called assists are going to be huge. AoE is diminished, but has the banner effect. Single target damage, counterattacks, all that kind of stuff is going to weigh in way more than speed, just raw speed. Control and manipulation will always have their place. So things like stun, daze, that kind of stuff will definitely have a detrimental effect to the team. So I don't know. We're gonna have to roll with it and see it. Stream tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern. I'm gonna try and do a regular stream every Friday because my kid's in gymnastics. And then along with that, I'm gonna try and keep streaming Grand Arena offense so everybody can kind of see what I use to counter, hopefully learn from me, and then also provide me with feedback, because you guys, whenever you talk, it helps me think about these things. So yeah, definitely stream tomorrow. And then of course, all of our content creators are always on thealliancegaming.com. Our giant cluster is part of the Alliance, and all of our guilds are the Alliance something or other. So yeah, we'd love for you to check out the other content creators there. They're all really smart players that have been playing a really long time. So, and it helps me learn from where I'm going. So thanks again for jumping on, everyone. Have a good night.